Hi, and welcome to the second video on how to use microServiceBus.com to manage your IoT devices and your IoT hub. Now in this video, we're going to take off from the last video where I built a solution pretty much from the ground up and ended up talking about what it will be left to do if we're not using a device management tool. Now in this video, we're going to build the same solution again, but this time using microServiceBus. So in this video, we are going to cover pretty much everything there is in microServiceBus, but on a pretty high level. And we will leave you to go to visit the other videos for more details on each subject. We're going to use the same solution we did in the last video, and that's going to be a Raspberry Pi. And not again because it's a very good IoT device, but it works very well for prototyping and one that many of us already have and can start playing with. I've attached a temperature sensor to the device. We're going to get those readings and we're going to submit them up to the cloud and see it in Power BI the same way we did last time. But this time we're going to focus much more about what is happening on the device and how can we provision and support our software running on that device. So we're going to start out with creating an account. And after you create an account, you get to create an organization, or you can join an organization if someone invites you. We're going to look at navigation on the site and some tips on how to work more efficiently. We're going to create a node. A node is an agent that is running on your device. And we're going to create a flow, which is actually the whole scenario that we looked at before, reading that temperature sensor and submit that data up to the cloud. We're also going to take a brief look into the pricing model and see some details there as well. Let's go. Let's see what we can do for the demo. So here we are at the microServiceBus portal. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to register, create a new account. I trust that you've done this many times before, so I won't bother you with it. So when you create your account, you are free to just log in. So that's what I'm going to do. Worth noticing also that you can log in using GitHub, or you can also integrate your account with ADFS. When you created your organization, you're now free to when you created your account and log in for the first time, you need to create your organization. Now, the organization is where you kind of group all your nodes and scripts and flows all together, and you can manage them all as a unit. You can create many organizations if you want to as well. So I'll call this my organization. Give it a description if you want, and now you need to select what IoT hub you want to use. Now the free one is limited, but it's a good choice if you want to get started and try it out. If you, like me, have an Azure IoT hub, I suggest you can use any of the other options that we have. So you probably remember from my last demo we used Azure IoT hub, and that's what we're going to do here as well. So come into the dashboard, we go to my IoT hub. There's a couple of things here. Maybe we have our demo device that we had used for last time. We come up to the section where it says shared access policies. And we're going to copy the IoT hub owner connection string, because this is the one that has the privileges that we need. So we go back to the Azure portal, we paste in the connection string, we test the connection, verifying that it works, and just create our organization. You can add some sample scenarios if you want to. I don't want this for this scenario, so just create the organization. This takes us to the flow page. In case we had those sample scenarios, those would be here as well. But I want to take us to the node page. So in the navigation, we take to the nodes, and the node is all the different that's the agent that is actually running on the device. So here we can see the demo node that we used before. I can come in here and create a new node if I want to. Call it Cal, for example. You can here set whatever protocol you want this particular node to use, and those correlates with whatever that IoT hub supports. And later on you can come in and change these if you want as well. Now with the node is created, we need to get this node configured on the actual device. Now to prepare your device, on the device you need to install an npm package called microServiceBus -node. This one, it's pretty simple. You just run this command saying npm install microServiceBus.node, and of course you need to have Node.js installed. Now I'm going to go this into much more detail when we get to the related video. As for now, I have already installed the node, so I have installed node and the npm package. So this is back to the terminal that you saw before in the previous demo. So all I need to do now is by node start. The problem here is that after you've installed the node, it has no notion of knowing what organization is this node bound to. So rather than doing that, there's several ways you can provision your devices. If you're a developer, the easiest way is to generate a code. You type the same command again, node start -c for the code, -n for the name. So that should fire up the node. It should contact microServiceBus, know that this is connected to my organization, and sure enough we can see that it's now online. However, we see that there are no services running. We can see it's running on Azure IoT, which was expected, but there are no services running. So let's change that. So we come to the flow page to create a new flow, to create the same scenario that we ran before with the temperature sensor. My first flow. This brings us to a designer with a toolbox with all the different services that is available for us. So we're going to start with an inbound temperature sensor, which is reading off that temperature. And then we're going to send that to Azure. So that'll be an outbound service called Azure IoT Events. So we connect these together. We double click on the service to get into the property window, and the first thing we need to set here is where do we want this service to run. So in our case, we want this to run on a node called demo. You can also use tags and groups here as well. You have other properties. We may have other properties such as how often do we want this to run. These properties are directly connected to whatever service you're running. And I want to see this in Celsius, so I'm fine with this. I have another service here that I need to configure and set this one also to demo. While I'm here, I'm thinking I want to do something else as well and make this a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to add another service in between. This might not make sense, but for now, I'm just going to add a scripting service. I need to set this to run at demo as well. This one's a little bit special. I can open it up and have a scripting window here. So I can add or manipulate the message here if I want to. So I can write message dot whatever I see interesting. I'm going to write author here just to, it's going to make more sense later on, I guess. But so what I want to show you that I'm actually altering the message, changing the message here, adding an attribute called author and give it my name to it. So with that, we're pretty much done, and I'm gonna just save this now. And what you can see here on the right side is now that we have now 3 services that have started. We can't really see what they're doing at this stage. So it's going to bring us down to the node page again, and we're going to enable debug output here so we can see what is actually happening. Let's give that a second, and now we can see the output from each of those services. Now, this is convenient now when I'm sitting with the terminal next to me, but quite often you don't have access to the terminal. So that way you can come into the console window here. And here we can see the same thing. And you can do filtering here and highlighting and such to get a better understanding of what's actually happening on your device. But sometimes that is not enough. So we're coming back to the node page here. And we're going to enable tracking. So let me just do this and come back into the tracking page. So in the tracking page here, we can click and we should see some tracking events coming through here. As they come every 3 seconds, it takes a little while, but sorry, there's tracking, and now we see some events coming through. We can view them, we can see all the different steps in this one. We can click here to see where are we in the process. For example, if we look at the message here, we see node, we see temp, we have unit, we have date time. However, we can't see that author that we just looked at before. So if we would look at the event, so it actually starts here with the temperature, goes through the JavaScript, and then it comes to the Azure event here. And we can actually see here that we have the author here as well. So again, looking at the flow, we have the later stage after we executed this one. Now we are sending everything to Azure now. So if you remember, we sent it to IoT Hub, we sent it to Stream Analytics. So we should see this coming through here also in Power BI. So if I was to just refresh this window, see that we have some data coming through. And now I'm heating up the sensor, and we'll see some temperatures increasing here as well. So this is exactly the same demo as we did before. So we see the temperature is now increasing. So far, so good. Anyway, so we go back to the portal. I'll show you tracking. I've shown you how to use debugging. But if you go back to the nodes, there are many other things we can do as well. So, for instance, sometimes you need to restart the device for any particular reason. You can also come into history if you want to see what has actually been happening on the device over time. So this way you can have a look at how many messages has been sent. You can see things like it's being connected or restarted and stuff like that. You can come into details here and see more onto the device. If you want to see, for instance, what is the state of the device, you can see what is the network, CPU, memory, storage, variables, npm packages installed, so you can get a good idea of what's happening on the device. There are many other settings that you can set on the device that we will cover more in detail later on. You can also do things like remote debugging. I won't show that here, but what you can do here, you come in and set breakpoints and step through your code. we're going to cover this later in a later module. Lastly, I just want to talk a little bit more about scripts and service before I leave you. So within scripts and services, now it's empty. Scripts and services are basically what you saw in your toolbox when we created that service before. So you can create your own services, either from scratch, or you can import from a file, or you can copy from any of the existing ones as well. So if we look at this temperature inbound service, which was the one that we used before, you can copy that one and give it your own name. So let's go my temp service. You can change the icon if you want. You can change properties here if you like. You want other properties from the user. You can even come in here. You can change the code. So basically, you have three methods. You have a start function, you have a stop function, a process function, and this particular run function here is just specific to this service. But those three services has to be implemented. This is not the time to go more in detail here. I just want to show you that this is the code that is actually running on the device. You can run, you don't have to have JavaScript, you can have embed, you can C# C++ code here as well. So we're just going to save this one to prove the point. So let's go back to my flow and detail. Just get rid of this one. This called my temp service, which was the one that we just created, right? So we connect that one, set it to use a demo node, and hit OK. And again, that causes everything to stop. You can see here that my temp service is now running instead of the DS18X20 service that ran there before. So that's all running. And with that, I'd like to go back to the slides and kind of make a recap of what we've done. So that was a pretty quick run through not all, but some of the features that you find in microServiceBus. But I'd like to kind of make a recap so we understand what actually happened. We had our device with the temperature sensor connected to it, and we used microServiceBus to deploy all the services that necessary to submit this up to our IoT hub. And this let us provision a new device. We actually saw that we can patch and update the devices. We saw that we can start and stop our devices and control them remotely. We saw that we can manage security, which actually every time the device, that happened very automatically. So every time the device connects up, it gets a new token and a new certificate. And you can force that to happen by just restarting the device. We saw that we can do issue tracking. We can track the messages to see where the actual problem was. And we could also have a release management, which I did go into much detail, but you can kind of schedule your updates to happen later on, or as patching Fridays or whatever you want to do it. Now the next video, we're going to go into much more detail on how to provision new IoT devices. And until then, I thank you very much for watching and hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.